Welcome to the Conversations with Rainforest Engineers podcast, India's first podcast for and by civil engineers. Join us on our journey to simplify and bring you experiences straight from the industry. This is your host Padmadev Joshi along with the co-host Gokulji Kumar and E.S. Krishna Ram. So let's jump right into it. Welcome back guys to the part 2 of the series on the current state of education system in India. If you haven't heard part 1 yet, we suggest you to check that out first.
Continuing with the same topic, what are the pain points currently in our course curriculum? If you talk about the post graduation programs, which subjects do you think would really help to shape your own business, or which would really help to like start something of your own?
Yes, PD, you have rightly pointed out this thing which we lack in our daily curriculum. Some of the major areas are personal finance, how to deal with your money. That's the main thing. Then, second, I would say how to choose your business partners, how to encourage your team, how to be a leader. So, these all things should be included in our curriculum. I think Krishna would like to add more points on it.
Yes, Gokul. See, I would be very happy. See, research and stuff like that. Doing a BTech project or a master's thesis is fine, but the issue is that those are purely done for credits, and there is no fundamental research aptitude behind those. So actually, I would be very happy if the course curriculum says that okay, maybe you come up with a business plan. Say if you are a civil engineer, you come up with a business plan for a business that is, see, there are somewhere around 300 allied industries running behind the construction industry, right? So you come up with a business plan, maybe to start a, what do you say, RMC business, or anything for that matter. You take a business, you study the options that are available, you do a market survey, you understand the environment, you study the what do you say, competitors, possible issues that you are going to face, and you come up with a fully fledged business plan, and maybe that you can present it as your project kind of thing, not exactly, but like in addition to project. So it, see, in the initial phases it might not make much difference, but in the long run this is going to cause a huge difference. See, because I never knew about any of these things back when I was doing my BTech. I literally had zero idea regarding all this business and stuff like this. See, the primary issue being I never knew that I could think like that. If only I knew that I can think in that side or in that aspect, I would be exploring more areas, right? So starting something like a, what is a business plan as a, what is a PG or a master's
Yeah,
thesis would be great as part of the curriculum.
very true, Krishna. So I'll tell you a story. Back in our UG days, we have this professor who gave us this assignment, and it was a prize money associated with it. So there were around 8 to 9 groups distributed among the classmates. You can select your partner, you can select your idea, but it has to do something with the civil engineering or the construction industry. So everyone came up with the ideas, and surprisingly, around 40 to 50% were related to digital technology. Basically, they are trying to propose an application for the said problem. And we had a entire semester on it. Like every day we'll be working on it on the project for 3 to 4 hours. Then at the end of the week we'll be presenting it. And on the last day of the semester we even pitched the idea to the professor, but somehow none of the project back the prize money. I think 2 years after we graduated, one guy successfully backed the prize. And there are some initiatives coming up in some institutes nowadays. So I think that would really help it out, and things will be changed, I think, in future.
Hopefully, yes. And
Mm.
also the funny thing is that even if such things are introduced, it should not be for grades or marks or something like that. Because I remember, like, what do you say, our university had this entrepreneurship cell, but a couple of companies registered so that they get grace marks. So, so it should not be for marks, or it should not be a, you should not be forced to do it, but it should be an option so that students are getting used to such kind of activities.
Yes, true. We are talking a lot about grades in this episode. So, what is actually grades for you, Goku? Like, what is the butterflies behind like hunting for good grades?
Oh man.
It's a tough one, right?
It should not
What
be very tough. Google being a 9 pointer and stuff like that, scholarship holder, it should not be very tough. It would
Yeah.
be very tough for me to answer that.
I'd say yes, marks matters, but I'd say that if you are getting a good mark in all your trimesters or semesters, it will prove that you are a person, a consistent person, I'd say. But it should not be a judging factor for you for any interviews or any other competitions, because I believe that there is one thing which everyone agrees is the skill the person is having carries a lot value than marks, I'd say.
Krishna?
I would say that what you say, competing for grades was very interesting activity. I never got a lot of grades, but it what do you see? I can say that it made me a lot more competitive, right? And as Google already mentioned, even I don't think that grade should be the final parameter to uh, gauge someone or judge someone, but ultimately we live in a society where grades do have a lot of importance. But
Hmm.
that being said, grades can be used as a what you say filtering medium, like say 60 plus kind of or 70 plus. You can use it as a filter, but you can't really compare a person who got what you say 85 and say 83. You can't say that the guy who got 85 would be better than the guy who got 83. So there are
Yes,
some
exactly.
gray areas coming to grades and stuff like that, but I would say that those are important because those stuff
Yes,
matter.
Krishna.
Like as Google already mentioned, it just shows that you are consistent. And if you're getting straight A's in all your semesters, I know that you are going to put the effort. I know that you are going to put the uh, I know that you are going to put the effort and the uh, all the other stuff required to get that. So it says a lot about you, but not everything.
So this is a very good lesson for our audience that don't follow grades blindly. Also look for upscaling things. So see, it's an entire process. It's a basically ecosystem. When you enter a college, so Gokul, what were your initial expectations from the college other than the course curriculum? Like, were you trying to upskill any of your like dream things, like working on your software proficiency or working on your communication skills? Like, did you have any checklist? Like, I had a long checklist when I entered my PG college.
Yes, PD, you pointed it rightly that when a person or a student will be going to his college, he'll be having a lot of expectation about his college, his friends who are going to become his friends, even the food we eat in the college, everything, there is a direct impact on him. And yes, when I also attended my college in PG, all these things were there, and there was always a plan to upskill myself. I always wanted to explore new things in design and stuff. So, as Krishna mentioned, our friend Gokul, I always
Hmm.
asked him how to do things, new things, and even he taught me Photoshop in my UG days. So, all these things. And in my PG days, I thought that I will explore library and I'll read new books. But in the starting, yes, I did. I read three books. But after that, I don't know. I'm more indulged in other activities than reading books and all. Yes, PD. Tell me about your experience.
I had a very long checklist actually to go with. The first thing when I entered my PG college, the first thing which I thought of doing is like I was told by many people that there will be a gym facility available, there will be a big sports complex available. So I was like, okay, first thing which I want to do, run at least 10 kilometers per
Oh
day. So
man.
so so it took me around 1.5 years to do that, but I finally did that. So that was the first thing to work on the fitness. I used to go in the evening hours, basically. The second thing is like there was this urge to do something which I can put in front of my recruiters, or in there was some urge, some butterflies in my stomach that I want to do some certification before I start my professional career. So I did that. I was looking for that also. Then this a secret thing actually. I didn't share this with anyone. I decided when I joined the institute that I'll keep my personal and professional life very separate. So I like had my two groups. One group I was only working for the professional thing, that is the assignment work, the class activities, and there was this second separate group. With them only I go for like having food or cinemas and something like that. So I try to balance my work and life. If you go with the same person, sometimes there will be some like same discussion going on. Like even if you go for movies, you will be discussing about the construction industry. So I wanted to keep that separate. So there was so many things on the list. What about you, Krishna?
Actually, I guess the audience would be mostly able to relate with me, because I was just a BTech student who was flowing through the 4 years of BTech. I never had any plans. I now think that that was a huge mistake on my part, because it would have been such a huge change or such a huge opportunity if I was in a position to better utilize my BTech days in acquiring the say soft skills, or even for that matter other hard skills. But it was pretty disappointing. I never did anything other than we had a startup back there. Luckily, it was a design based startup. We had that, but I don't think that I achieved much in my 4 years of BTech other than getting a BTech certificate.
So, what would you like to suggest to the future aspiring students from our experience? Like, what all things would you like to suggest to them? We'll start with Krishna.
Okay. Okay, so coming to suggestions, actually, I guess suggestions and advices are something that I guess everyone has a lot of. So I would not term it as advice to say young civil engineers. I would say something like, if I knew that, or things if I had known when I was doing my first year of BTech, how would things have been different? Some of those things would have been, say, going for internships. I never knew that internships were such a huge thing until I came to PG. Funnily, I did one internship back in my BTech days. That was a 4 or 5 day internship, and
Okay.
the experience was
Krishna,
good.
can you call it an internship?
Say the university calls it, so I don't think there is any wrong in me calling it an internship. So I would say try to do as much internships as possible. See, there are enough opportunities out there. See, companies would be very happy because they would not be having a lot of first year boys or girls coming in and asking like, I would like to know about the industry, can you give me an internship? I don't think that that is going to happen a lot. So one thing would be doing a lot of internships, getting to know what is happening in the industry. That would be one thing. The second thing would be improving one's communication skills, and that is one goal that I had before coming to the college, the PG college. Because see, I was never a person who was very, what you say, feel to speak in front of the crowd. I never even, what you say, spoke to a crowd as big as say 10 or 15. So I knew that I had that problem speaking to huge crowd. So that was something that when I came to PG, I was like, okay, I'll try to rectify that here. But see, if you're doing in your first year of BTech, I guess you already have 3 years of your life in front of you, and communication skills goes a long way. So definitely try to brush up your communication skills. So first thing was internship. The second thing is communication skills, and third thing would be to start some kind of financial education, because you don't see the system giving any importance to your finances. And I guess you have to proactively come forward and learn about your finances, money, all those stuff matter. So I guess these three would be the key things that I would say upcoming graduate should look forward to: internships, communication skills, and personal finance. Yeah.
So, what basically Krishna is trying to say is money can solve all your problems related to money, right?
No,
Yes,
he's
bro.
saying he's
Money
not
cannot solve all
money
your problems, but money can solve all your money problems.
approach towards money can solve all the problems.
Yeah. And what is your take on this, Gokul?
Yes, PD Krishna already mentioned most of the points, but I would like to share some. I never knew a company's name rather than L&T when I was in UG because we never like thought about it. We never thought about industry, how things are done in industry. So I believe that these are things. These all things are very much important I'll talk in the perspective of civil engineer. Not only in civil engineering, but all the other engineering streams. So you have to know your industry better. For that, Krishna told about internships. Then we should not be falling behind in technical stuffs also, because in most of the universities, what we see is people run behind the marks, but they don't study the correct aspects what they are expected to. So prepare for your technical skills also. Like if you are going to a site, you should be able to identify things. You should be able to communicate with even the site engineer that these all things are there, or how can I improve myself. All things should be there. So improve on your technical skills. Yes, and if you are going for an interview, I never got an exposure in my BTech days. You have to face an interview or you have to face an aptitude test for that. Always what we did was we made a resume for the first time and we sat for a company. I did not disclose the name of the company, but yeah, we sat for it. But we never
I'll
knew
say that
about us.
it was not a civil core civil company. It was probably an IT company, right?
Yes, man. So we never knew what to do and interview, how to attend an interview, how things happen in an interview, how you have to like show yourself in an interview. So all these things are important, I would say. These things should be like, as a graduate engineer, civil engineer, you should know all these things. You should prepare yourself for these also.
True that, Google. Even not able to name companies from, say, civil engineering background is something that even I am guilty of. So actually, she should be ashamed to say that out loud, not knowing any civil
Yes.
companies after doing 4 years of BTech in civil engineering. But ultimately, that is the harsh truth. And even regarding the interviews and stuff like that, that is what is happening currently. Even I have not attempted any interviews up and until I was like about to go for my PG. So ultimately, all those things matter in one's professional life. Great points, yeah. PDF, would you like to add anything more?
Yeah, I think inclination of students towards reading out industry outlooks, some sort of reports, some sort of magazines on the construction industry, that would give them a leverage when they sit for placements and look for the job opportunities. Second thing which I observe in the current student is the mindset. Like when you entered the institute, the first and foremost thought should be upskilling yourself and present yourself as a professional. But what we go for is a red dress. I always use this word in the PG days. I think Krishna would agree with me. I always used to call the placement system as a red dress. You blindly run for anything, you'll never reach to your goal. So I think we have to streamline our goals and objectives, not only looking for placements, but we should look for the companies, what exactly they are doing, how they are doing, and where do you fit in their ecosystem. So that would be very interesting to see the change in the students as well as the hiring companies which are coming for the student. So now I have a very fun activity. We are talking a lot about technical things and placements and things like that. So this is for a guest of honor for the day, Gokul Ji Kumar. So
So
Gokul, you have to
PD, I'm
answer.
a guest to
So you
you.
have to answer this. See? This was a question thrown to me a few days back by one of the recruiter, and I find it very interesting. So I'm trying to share my experience with you, but you have to answer it. I won't answer this thing today. So the question was like, is it a right time to go for higher studies, even considering that the crisis is killing the real estate sector, even it is affecting job market in the construction industry. So what is your advice for the aspiring students? Like, should they opt for the higher studies in this time of crisis? What is your answer to that?
Yes, man. There are a lot of uncertainties now with regarding this further studies because we know that the situation is not good. But I would say when we take, for example, if we take MBA, we should have to go for online classes because we don't have another go for that, right? So your classes experience will be affected, and you will not be able to go to your college, explore things like library or other stuff that you will miss. But if you take or you will think about placements, and most probably the person who is enrolling now will be passing out in 2022. So at that time, industry will be in its best pace, and they will be hiring more. You know that now what's happening is in the industry itself there is layoffs, salary cuts. So it's the best time you can accommodate yourself into some other thing so that you can do upskilling of yourself. I believe that initial learning experience will be impacted, but later on, when you will be passing out, there will be a lot of opportunities in the industry. Isn't it, Krishna?
Yes, I guess even I do have that similar viewpoint. See, I never had anything against this going for higher studies and stuff like that, because ultimately, if you are really interested in what you're trying to learn, and you are really passionate about that, you can always come up on top. I guess this crisis is something that we have never experienced before, and it is on a scale that we've never even imagined. But couple of years down the line, this is also going to pass out. So I guess you better use this time efficiently and do something that is going to set you apart. That might be in form of, say, higher education. That might be in form of, say, online courses that you're taking, upskilling of any manner. If you are given an opportunity to prove yourself, that would definitely be something that is going to set you apart. So I guess it will definitely work out.
So when we talk about upscaling, uh, I'll take those argument as a very positive thing, and I think your audience will be agreeing with this point. Upscaling is the only way out, and yeah, it's the right time to go for higher studies. Opportunities will be created by 2022, and we just have to wait and see like what all opportunities are there. So when you talk of opportunities, this pandemic has even given us a new vision to look for. That is to compare traditional jobs against the modern jobs. So now new jobs are being created by the startups as well. How do you think any institute or student should approach these people as well, other than the traditional jobs? Gokul?
Yes, PD, you have rightly mentioned it. Now we know that a lot of startups are coming up in India, and people are passionate about their ideas, and they know that they can come forward with it. So I believe if you are getting an opportunity to work in a startup or in a startup atmosphere, it's well and good. Even if you are studying your PG or UG, along that you can work with them or explore new things. Because if you want to be an entrepreneur in the future, you can get all the details from the other startups, and if you want to start in future, it will help you out.
What about Krishna?
Okay, so you are asking about traditional jobs and modern jobs. I would answer it a bit differently, because ultimately it's about grabbing those opportunities, right? So,
Yes.
so my take is from the approach that you're trying to grab this opportunity from. The traditional approach is you prepare a resume, you go to a number of companies or a number of places, and you see that if they have an opening that is relevant for you. That is the traditional approach. The
Hmm.
modern approach would be you would be setting yourself apart from the competition, highlighting that you have these many skills or you are proficient in XYZ. And I guess there are a lot of platforms these days. Even LinkedIn is one of those platforms, and I guess we'll have an entire episode on leveraging LinkedIn. So see, if you take the case of LinkedIn, you can use that as a platform to show your expertise, to show your passion and stuff like that. And you'll be surprised to know that there are companies, there are recruiters who are looking for people like that. So the modern approach would be to set yourself out there and you wait for other people to compete for you. I guess that is the approach that you should be taking.
Yes, Krishna and Gokul. So today's discussion was very fruitful. We started discussion from the educational system, the story of 10th and 12th. Then we move on to the mindset of parents. And then we discuss the entire journey of our today's guest and supported by Krishna. So we'll be joining you next week again with the new stories and insights from the construction industry. Okay, that's it for today, guys. Do tune in for upcoming episodes and do check out eskrishnaraam.com/podcast for more updates and details about podcast channel. We'll see you guys in the next week. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Conversations with Reinforced Engineers podcast. Hope you found value in the discussion and do tune in for next episodes. And in case if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast for updates on future episodes. Thank you once again and have a great day.